This is Kagan Ahmed, and he's making headlines in chess across the world because he's just 13 years old. Yes, an international master, but in Blitz, he's lagging behind, rated just 2290, and he's up against the super grandmaster superstar Hikaru Nakamura. But he only goes and pummels him. A brilliant move to come. Loved this game. Played in the FIDE World Teams Championship event. Blitz section. Let's dive in. Hikaru kicks off with the king pawn here. We get an aggressive Sicilian. Knight f3, d6. Clock times on the left. 3 minutes each, plus I think 2 seconds a move, maybe 1 second, I forget. Now we get bishop b5 check. This one blocks, and we see the exchange. Hikaru now trying to take it down territory that isn't so common, because when the pawn's attacked, you could defend with the queen or rook, or push the pawn, but he plays pawn d3. Very natural move, but we are in a bit of a sideline at the top levels of cheese. Now we see pawn e6, c3, bishop e7, natural developing stuff, castles, and here we go. This is why Ali Reza, Hikaru, Fabi, they practice together all the time. It's for pony maneuvers like this. We love to see it in tournament play. Kagan now expands on the queen side there. What's one of the best ways to meet that when you're getting attacked on the flank? Well, it's with a central thrust, and the opposite is true, of course, here. Not a central thrust. Don't know what that is. I'm getting a bit flustered. If you take, well, it's the top engine approved way to play. Immediately open the C file, gain access to this square, but instead we see d5 played straight away. Now you might think, let's plow on with e5, lovely structure, but then black gets knight e4, doing quite well. This knight's a bit awkward, so Hikaru instead plays the best, knight e5, hitting the outpost, and if takes, well, you're embarrassing this guy. It's got to stumble back to e8, which is really passive, because if you take the pawn, you run into this tactic. That's good knight Vienna. So we didn't see captures. The queen moves away from the attack. Now Hikaru takes, queen recaptures, and now he thrusts forward. Look at the difference in the position with the knight gone from f3. And of course, he sets up the beloved connect 4. Only goes and unlocks himself a free PT session with Wesley. So he's in incredible shape right now. Hikaru wants to get back to those Gigakaru days. Fair play to him. This knight now drops back to d7. If it comes forward, you run into f3. You're getting trapped and embarrassed. You know where to go. Pawn can start chasing it here. So this is best. And now queen g4 streams into the attack, and just look at the attacking ideas. The bishop's coming, the knight's coming like this, the rook's lifting potentially, the pawn can march here. All these grandmasterly attacking ideas. By the way, massive discount right now, 80% off in the Remote Chess Academy shop. If you want to learn to think like a super grandmother, then you've got to get the courses. Make that investment for life. The super bundle right now is at a ridiculous price. They only have it like this maybe twice a year or something, for a few days only. It'll be gone soon. Make that investment. Love those courses with GM Igor Smirnov. Check it out, link in the description. Gone in about a day or two. What do we see here? Now we see rook fc8, and it not only comes onto the c file where Kagan wants to counterplay, but it also opens up this square for some defensive maneuvers. Knight g3 is now played. We get takes on d4 here, and now if you take back immediately, let's look at the difference between the lines, because queen c2, bishop h6 attacking, and you can drop back with the queen. Really common defensive idea when you're trying to look for counterplay down here. You see it in the Roy Lopez and stuff like that. So not played. Instead, Hikaru plays immediately bishop h6. He whispers Zwischenzug or intermezzo, because now black's got to deal with that threat first. If you cover with the bishop, by the way, bad move. Look at this. It's the Mario smash. You take anyway. Knight h5. These are the attacking ideas. White's doing great. No way to cover that bishop. You're killing the king. So we come back. We see pawn g6 played, now takes back on d4, the invasion happens, hitting the pawn, Hikaru x-ray defends and hits the black queen, she slides into d3, and you should now crack on with pawn h4 here, attack the black monarch. But Hikaru first flicks in r2d2. He loves his Star Wars. I mean, he sits up most night trying to remember the names of the robots.
d4, e4, d1, h5, d2, h5, d2, h5, d2, h5, d2, h5, d2, c5, h5, d5, e1, e1.
But there's a problem here when the queen now goes and you push h4, which he does. Not that that was forced. Now in that position, you'd have been better off with queen f4 or pawn b3. Well, here he runs into a tactic. Can you find the move for black to give a significant advantage? So well done if you saw the move of knight takes on e5, taking advantage of this lateral pin. Queenie drops off the board if you capture the knight. No time to kick the queen or any way you can take, this sort of thing. Black is killing it. So Hikaru's got to meekly retreat his queen, hit the knight, and it should actually drop to d7. It hops forward into d3. Surely that's the better square, more aggressive. Well, no. After queen e3, the knight's getting a bit embarrassed. Can't go in any of these directions. It's only got one sensible hop, which is here. But now, after pawn a3, not played, we've gone to analysis mode, back cave, the knight's actually got to go to a6, and now it's just on a really bad circuit, as we can see, not entering the game in a good way anytime soon. If it had come here, bang, the queen gets embarrassed, it's actually checkmated, and you're losing your queen. So a3 the move. Hikaru doesn't play it. He immediately threatens checkmate. Don't go f6. This one drops with check. Then the bishop 2. So instead we see bishop f8, an exchange. And now you could invade. But after this, let's say you win a pawn just to show the line. Wow, that's horrible. You're in jail with that queen, and knight c6 covers the flight square here. This is of course taken. The second rook's on the way to trap the queen. Always be careful with poisoned pawns, especially when the rooks are lined up. So we see queen f6 instead. Queen c7's a great move to do some defense, and after rook e1, now we see queen d8 to try and exchange the ladies. You could crash through using the pin, win a pawn, but black also wins a pawn and is doing great in this endgame. Open file here to invade on, and a 2-on-1 majority in a lot of endgames. So let's run back. We didn't see that. Hikaru goes queen f4, staying on the dark squares of course. King g8 played, a3 once again the best move, but he cracks on with this pawn push, and there's an excellent defensive resource for black. Love this intuition from Kagan. He's a strong player, only 13 years old. He pushes forward here, understanding that gaining that tempo, then cementing on the dark squares is the best way, because the knight's got no good jumps here. So Hikaru drops back, looking to maneuver into g4. Rook c2 invades, good move. Hikaru doesn't want to exchange, and don't take this pawn. You run into queen c3. One of those pieces is dropping off the board. So instead, in the game, king g7 was played, and it actually sets a sneaky trap, which Hikaru falls for. What should he play? Well, it's our good friend pawn a3 once more, but not played. He goes queen b3. And it's such a natural move, because it looks like you're winning one of those pieces by force. You know what to do. Say you go rook c4, well, you're running into knight e3, going to win an exchange because it's staying with the knight. So how to defend this and this? a5 maybe? But then what is it? Pawn a3, kick the defender of the rook? No. This is what Kagan's prepared. A brilliancy. Can you see the move? It's queen f6. Beautiful, because if the knight's captured, then you crash through here. It's checkmating too. And it works here, but not if the rook had taken on b2, because then when the queen slid to c3, if queen f6, you would just take the rook. It was hanging. So this is why this now works. You can't touch the knight. f3 is played, really ugly, never play it. Hans Feingold does not approve. Now we see rook c4 to cover the knight, hit the pawn. It does run into knight e3, but here there's the very strong exchange sack of pawn a5. And if knight takes, you can actually recapture with either pawn. Really strong position for black actually. But we won't go down the line. Wasn't played. Instead, we see rook takes on d4. And it's actually a mistake that brings the game back to level. Because now you can go knight g4 and it hits the queen, which is defending the rook. And of course you can't go here because that square's covered twice. And you can't step back. King's in the way. So what to do? Rook takes on d1 has to be tried, and actually picking up the queen isn't best, because takes with check, you've picked up 2 rooks for the queen, and when the smoke clears here, black's actually doing a bit better with these 2 rooks. There's a bunch of checks, but the king can escape, game goes on. So we didn't see this one of taking the queen. Hikaru instead takes here, and the best move now, queen e7. Queen f4 played. I'll show you the difference, because after check, pawn f6 covering, you can now play pawn a3. And this knight's getting absolutely embarrassed. If earlier on, in this position, you'd play queen e7, well now after check, an f6. You can't play this a3 move in the same way, or you can, sorry, but then the queen's coming around to c5 with check. If b4, well then you can bring the rook. Anyway, black holds everything together. But in the game here, after this, this, and this knight's actually getting embarrassed because it drops back here and queen c6 hits 2 pieces at once. You're just losing the house. Nothing to be done. It's absolutely game over. But Hikaru misses this continuation because he's seen another good one, which is rook d4. Or so he thinks. Looks like you're winning a piece by force, but there's a move he's missed here. Can you find what black should play seen in the game? The move to play is knight takes on a2, and you suddenly uno reverso, because if you capture the queen, not played, but playable by the way, this is how the line could go. Well, now you haven't lost the piece. Game's roughly level here. Who's better? It's anyone's guess, right? Black's going to run these pawns, but white's attacking this king, going to take a pawn. Anything could happen. We come back to the game. Hikaru didn't swap the queens off. He saves this queen here, but it's not the best, because now check can be played. The king goes, another pawn drops, it hides out on g3, and now f5 goes for that knight, opens up attacking ideas as well, and Hikaru's best move now, finally missed one more time, is the desperado. Rook takes on d5, because after pawn recaptures, takes, amazingly, despite being an entire rook down, there's these huge attacking ideas. Some of it's just perpetuals, some of it can even lead to more if black steps in the wrong direction, such as this. Here's just one sample line I was playing with, where you end up losing the queen, but should be a perpetual with best play, but not played. Hikaru ducks out of it, plays knight e3 here. Now, I didn't check. If you go f4 check, I guess the king hides out and it's too dangerous to open up here. So instead we see queen c3 and it forces those queens off the board. Because if you go here to stay with the knight, you lose the rook. Whoops. And if you drop back here, you lose the knight on e3. So instead we see the desperado from Hikaru. Now takes was played anyway, because this time, after takes and takes, although the rook's dropping, the knight is too. It's not the same attacking ideas. Black now a full knight ahead and 2 pawns. This is terminal. Let's see what happened from here. The knight comes back into play. 2 of the pawns do get mopped up on the queen side here, but it's an entire knight. Should be good enough. Hikaru keeps giving the runaround here. He's trying to get that perpetual check going, some kind of blunder or a win on time, but eventually the king does find a safety here. The knight marches in, and soon we finally see the h-pawn drop. This is the ideal defensive setup. Now we get the check, the pawn drops, and black can finally start running those kingside pawns. This is how the game progressed. The king boxed into a corner, knight rotating round. Finally here we get the advance of the pawn, a second sacrifice. Great chess though, just rips open the king. queens off in Siberia on the a1 square, and after this and this and this and this and this, we soon get the white king boxed into a mating net, and in this position, after queen f1 check, Hikaru resigns, because his only move is this, and then knight f3 shuts the mating trap. That's how the game would have ended. Incredible game by young Kagan there. Brilliant move with queen f6, and he just kept it going. Hope you enjoyed. Have a look at the Remote Chess Academy. Huge sale, only like twice a year. Amazing courses, and there's a video on screen in case you want some more epic chess. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you soon. Cheers.